Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey, Chris, welcome. Thank you for joining
Hi,
us today.
Ryan. Good
Cool.
to be with you again.
Yeah, good. I'm just quickly sharing the link. It'll take me a second. So we're broadcasting again on all of the public channels, which is the ARC Facebook page, the Mario Helper Facebook profile, and the Duly Diagnosed YouTube channel. So if you guys want to participate, I have just posted the links in all of the in the comments of all of those public channels where you're seeing the video. If you're in the Maria Cafe and you want a higher degree of anonymity or confidentiality, please don't hop on just yet. Wait until we switch over. So the first 10 to 20 minutes are going to be broadcast on the public channels, and we're going to switch over exclusively to the Mario Cafe, and then you can hop on there with a higher degree of anonymity. So if you're on the public channels or Mario Cafe, you can click the link and join in and participate via video and audio, or audio only. If you don't want to do video, you can just have a little thumbnail. Alternatively, post a comment and I'll see if I can share that. It should come up on my screen and I can share that. And Chris and I can see what we can do about answering your questions. So the topic is relapse prevention. And we don't have a worksheet, a particular worksheet that we decided to use today. We just thought we'd wing it, say. So I hope that goes okay, Chris. So I was telling you about this movie called Beautiful Boy that I'd seen.
Yeah.
And it really just illustrated, how hectic addiction can be for the person going through the addiction and the person and the people on the outside, the family members. It broke my heart watching the whole movie, it really resonated with me. I've got a young son, and I think about him sort of, he's 6, growing up and sort of ending up in that situation, and it's quite scary to think about that.
The kind of impacts of our addictions on so many people is frightening. It kind of really kind of could almost overwhelm us when we kind of start thinking about kind of getting clean and being sober and staying clean. That often being in that place and thinking about what we've done to people can kind of, like I said, I used the word overwhelming because it can overtake us and kind of lead us into really dark places.
Yeah, like a really deep sense of shame, hey?
Yeah. And kind of the guilt that comes with it, and being able to deal with that guilt, I think, is so important for recovery. So that you're not kind of, you don't stop in that place, but you're able to move yourself forward and really kind of see the differences and see the change that you're making in you. But I think it's also really interesting because one of the things that happens is that while kind of as an addict we might be on our way to recovery, it doesn't always mean that the people we love are in the same sort of place with us. And they have their own battles and their own challenges in kind of trying to deal with that. And so even this morning, there was the partner of somebody who was saying, you know what, kind of just sometimes there's flashbacks to the way in which that person's behavior was before. And how that kind of still is within her and taking it forward. And we kind of also need to be able to understand that and kind of get to a place where we recognize that while we are on our road to recovery, they've also on their own separate road with us.
Yeah. You mentioned the person's partner sort of having flashbacks and so on. So I mean, if you think about it from the point of view of sort of you know this person, you know more or less what they're about, and then all of a sudden one day you uncover this sort of nest of secrets that they've been keeping,
Yeah.
and sort of that comes to the forefront, and it's almost well, it's a form of deep betrayal, and
Yeah.
it leaves the person on the other end really going, wow, like everything that I've believed about this person and this relationship isn't accurate by any means.
Absolutely.
And in a split second, that sort of, the whole perception changes,
Yep.
and I think it can cause a lot of obviously it can result in anxiety issues and a whole range of issues, Chris?
Yeah, in some ways, it's kind of almost a PTSD that they kind of go through, and kind of experience from kind of this continued bombardment that they faced from the behavior that they've had to deal with, and that's kind of the person who they love, the person who they want to be with. It almost becomes somebody that they don't even recognize.
Well, it is in fact a different person that they're having to deal with.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an entirely different person, and again, that addictive behavior obviously comes with things like dishonesty, manipulation.
Always.
There's a lot of self-centered behavior, all of those kinds of things, and once you go through a treatment process, I suppose the objective is really to sort of like come out on the other side of that with something that is not just that, like almost like a personality of sorts that isn't the same as the personality that motivated the addiction, if I can put it that way. But it's not necessarily fully developed, but it's something that needs to sort of develop over a period of time. And that's what I hope people are finding helpful about these videos that we do, is because we want these to obviously aid them on their journey in developing that personality, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I think it's important. The one thing that I kind of liken recovery, coming into rehab to, it is almost like pre-season training in sport, where you kind of come in, it's for a set period of time, you get fit, you learn more about yourself, you learn more about your opposition, about the tactics your opposition uses, you develop your own skills. But it's when you go out that you've got to put that stuff into action.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the tar hits the road, and it becomes interesting where you take it from there.
Yeah. Some guys obviously come through treatment. They go out. They're very motivated. There's lots of sort of, well, the hope is that they've got people around them that are encouraging them. Okay.
Sure.
But they still kind of don't get it right, and a relapse takes place, right? We got Chris on board. How you doing, Chris?
Well in yourself, Ryan.
Thanks, man. Good. So yeah, I was saying, so the guys come in, they've got a lot of encouragement out there. I hope that's the hope. They go out there and they sort of start piecing their life together, but sort of something goes wrong, and they fall off the bus, right? That's obviously not an ideal scenario, but it's more often than not what happens in a lot of there, Chris.
Yeah, you have to be realistic about it. I mean, for many people, that this has kind of been many years of abusive behavior, self-destructive behavior for themselves. And I think sometimes the expectations that people have of themselves and that families also have of the person who's been in here are kind of unrealistic. So that they almost set themselves up for kind of change, for failure. And we kind of have to be in a place to be able to say, you know what, it's every single day you get up, you do the work, and you take it through. And if a relapse does happen, and obviously that's kind of not what we're working for, we're working for full recovery. But if a relapse does happen, it's not to just kind of give people up, but it's to say, well, how do we get you back on board as soon as possible and take it forward?
Yeah. So in the movie I think it's A Beautiful Boy or Beautiful Boy, there's a moment where the dad takes the son to a rehab center, and the son sort of absconds from this rehab center. Sorry.
That was the background music track.
Yeah, that was my ringtone. Jimi Hendrix track. So the dad took the son to this rehab, and the son absconded from the rehab, and he went off and he relapsed. And the dad was in another city, so the dad got this call from the rehab center, and it was quite a cold sort of conversation from the rehab's point of view. The rehab person on the other end of the line said, "Listen, your son's absconded. We suspect that he's relapsed." And the dad was like, "Well, what now?" So she was like, "Well, look, sometimes relapse forms part of the person's process and their journey." I mean, and it's not a lie. I mean, relapse can form part of a person's process, and it can be an indication that something is wrong, that needs to be addressed. But I can imagine that being so incredibly frustrating for family members, to hear that. It's like, geez, like really, you guys were supposed to get this person well. You're supposed to come out on the other end and not relapse,
Sure. But I think that's also why the importance of kind of creating a connection between the family and the rehab center is really important. So that they can also understand the process more fully, that they can understand kind of the dynamics of addiction, they can understand the dynamics of recovery as well.
Yeah.
Because I think ideally all of us would like everybody who comes in here to kind of leave and everything be perfect, and their life to just kind of be all roses. But it's just not realistic. I mean, it's a tough road, and I don't think that people always understand just how tough recovery can be.
Yeah.
Look, there are some people who sail through it and kind of seemingly have no issues and no difficulties, but that's not the majority. For the majority of people, it's a struggle, and you kind of go day by day. You get it through, and the longer you proceed with it, the more successful you are, the better you feel about yourself, and the better you feel about your recovery.
Yes, yeah. Chris, do you want to weigh in on this?
Sorry, I dialed in a little bit later. I'm obviously battling with load shedding, so went on the hunting trip this weekend. So I can actually relate a lot, because the ladies were giving us quite a bit of shit, if I may say that. We wanted to watch the rugby at another farm, and it was a big argument because people were going to drink there, and it's like before we even fail or attempt, we pretty much set up that we're going to fail. So we have to isolate ourselves, and we can't, do sort of normal things. And we worked it out for ourselves that we, if it gets uncomfortable and people put pressure on us, we'll just leave. And exactly that happened. They were taking us out, and I wanted to know detail about why we're not drinking, the old story. Lucky it was, we were both went through the same thing, and we're pretty much dealing with the same issues. So we could stick together, but I think it becomes a little bit more difficult when you're on your own. That's I think you guys wanted to know how it went and everything. So it was with ups and downs, and we did get cravings when you stand by the fire, and we drank a lot of coffee, a shitload of coffee and Red Bulls. But we supported each other, and we tried to stay calm, but we sort of both lost our tempers with them. And they questioned the thing if we would ever be able to drink again, and I just said I'm not going to take that chance, and I don't think it's going to happen like that ever again. So yeah, it's difficult, and that's why I keep on saying they should also go for, if you can call it, counseling, and also, you know, understand the whole thing better. And you try to explain to them, but it's the same with, I keep on referring back to the ADD. If you don't have that issue or that addiction in you, you cannot really understand it. So it's a difficult thing for people on the outside to understand it. You can try and explain to them, and yeah, it's a difficult one.
Yeah, I think it is. Go ahead, Chris. Yeah.
I think it is difficult, Chris. At the same time, though, I think sometimes when we're in recovery, we can also get a little bit precious about ourselves and our own recovery, and we forget that the people who've been with us have been on their own journey.
Yes.
And that they kind of have experienced so much crap from us over the years, and that they still dealing with that impact. They still kind of trying to deal with that. And I mean, I suppose in an ideal world, what we would have is you guys who with addiction kind of coming in for 21 days, and their partners going into a separate facility for 21 days to work on them as well. That I think would kind of really create an optimal environment for going forward. So who knows, Ryan? Maybe we set something up like that.
Yeah, no. So I am planning on really developing a very strong support network for family members.
It's so important.
Similar to the My Rehab Cafe, I've been working on that, and it's going to be launched soon. But yes, definitely something that's going to be helpful. Hey? Yeah. I think. Yeah. So it was you and your wife, hey, Chris?
So it was basically it was me and then my wife, and then Gavin and his wife, and then the kids came with. But we both agreed it was such a nice experience doing it without alcohol. You're more in the moment, and you're more level-headed and responsible and things like that. So we enjoyed it a lot more, and we want to keep it that way.
Yeah.
So obviously the farmer and his son kept on asking, why you're not drinking, and you know the normal questions that you make a lot of shit. What shit did you make? And you have to explain the whole story, and you can't. You're gonna need more than a weekend to explain everything, if I can put it that way, in a funny way.
Yeah. So I normally just tell people that they'll be putting themselves at risk should I start drinking.
That's pretty much what you said as well.
In a nutshell.
The same.
Yeah. Everyone's gonna be in danger, that's all.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So look, our 15 minutes is up on the public channels. I'm gonna just quickly swap over. If you could bear with me for 2.5 minutes, if that's okay. I'm gonna just play a quick video.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
What's up, guys? My Rehab Helper here. I want to tell you about a refreshing approach to a process of self-discovery for anyone that's just left a rehab program for substance abuse issues, or for anyone wanting to engage with a community of others on a journey of self-discovery. The My Rehab Cafe initiative is a thriving community focused on sobriety. You'll find that this group is thriving and full of conversations and discussion on what is working for those who are staying sober. Some members have used 12-step programs and others have never stepped foot into a meeting, but they all have one thing in common. They are serious about quitting drinking and leading a better life. New members often express how friendly, open, and welcoming the community feels, even more than they expected. We achieve this by fostering a community built on trust and fairness, with policies in place and enforce a no jerks allowed policy. We will make a point of getting you plugged in and connected with the community, and all this with the understanding that you want to be here and the expectation that you will put in the effort and participate in the group. Members gain access to recovery resources like worksheets, online lectures, online Q&A sessions, online discussion forums, online workshops, linking with an accountability partner and the My Rehab podcast. In My Rehab Cafe, you'll get advice and tips from members who have been sober for years, from those who have been where you are. They have a tremendous amount of experience to share, but so do you. We have chosen to grow this group slowly, paying attention to who may be a good fit and who may not be. This group may not be for everyone, and that's okay. Those who realize it's not about what you get from the community, but what you can give, are the ones who we see being the most successful. Those who ask questions, share with others, attend webinars, and get out of their comfort zones are the ones who benefit the most from this private online community. Thanks for listening, guys. My Rehab Helper, over and out.